Hello all, welcome to Kalli Tech channel. Today I am going to show you how to deploy a Spring Boot application in Microsoft Azure. For this example, I am going to use MySQL Cloud Database instead of H2. I will explain you through the step-by-step process. First step, we need to create a Spring Boot application from Spring Initializer. And second step, we need to set up MySQL Cloud Database and configure in Spring Boot application. Third step, test your Spring Boot application. And fourth step, create a Microsoft Azure account. And fifth step, deploy your application in Microsoft Azure. Let's see example. First step, we need to download the example from the Spring Initializer. And we have to choose the project as a Maven project. And the language is Java. And the Spring Boot version is 2.4.1. And the project metadata, you can give any project metadata. And packaging structure is jar. We have to deploy this jar as an embedded jar in Microsoft Azure apps. And the Java version is 8. And the dependencies, we need to have 3 dependencies. And first dependency is MySQL driver. And the second dependency is Spring Web. And third dependency is Spring Data JPA. Let's download the example and import the project in your favorite editor. I just downloaded the example and I am imported the project. In this example, I have made some couple of changes to create an endpoint. And in this endpoint, I am using one service class, and the service class is appointment service. In the appointment service, I have implemented one DAO, and this DAO which is used to store the entries into the MySQL database. And if you see the DAO implementation, I have used appointment repository, and where the simple way we can create a repository. This repository which stores the entry into the database, and it will retrieve the entry from the database and with help of this DAO. Okay, and the endpoint of this repository is it will be start with appointment, and the post is the method which we are going to post the create the entry, and the get mapping which is to get all the records from the MySQL database. Okay, the second step is you need to configure your MySQL cloud environment, and let's go and see MySQL cloud. And this is the MySQL cloud I set up it, and the table name which is an appointment table, and you can see the description here. These are the 3 columns which we are going to create. Okay, and I will configure the same MySQL cloud database properties inside this application.properties, and I'm just showing you how do we do. And actually these are the not necessary. Actually I'm just removing this one, and you need to specify the data source URL, and you need to specify the data source username and the password. And at present I am using it for the create and drop. When you use the create and drop, it will be when application is starting, it will create the tables. When application is stopping, it will drop the tables. Let's see how. Let's run this example, and I'm just stopping existing container, and I'm just starting again. Application is starting. It started successfully. It started successfully, and let's see. And I will check whether whether the tables were present or not. Okay. Yeah, there is no entries as of now, but the table is created already because we used the create drop option. And the second step next is we need to test this application, and I'm going to create an appointment. Okay, and this is the first appointment. I can say first appointment, and just I will also specify one, and the date is 5th. I can choose it as 6th 06 6th January 2021, and I'm sending the request. It will store the entry into the database, and let's see. Yeah, it created entry into the database, and just verify. Yeah, the entry successfully created, and just I will also create one more entry, and we retrieve the all the entries. And second appointment is, I will also specify second, and the date is, I will give tomorrow date, 7th January, and just send it. Now two entries created, and let's retrieve the entries from the database. I just retrieved the entries from the database. Yeah, two entries present at this moment, and we will also verify the values in the database whether it is presented or not. It conclusion is, we created entries in the database. Yeah, and the next step is, we need to deploy this application in Microsoft Azure. For this, you need to have a you need to create a Microsoft Azure account. When you create an account, initially the application will be looks like home page will be look like this. Okay, and the second step, you need to set up repository, and just you can create the repository by clicking the new plus button, new repository, and I already created an appointment MySQL. Okay, I will clone it and I will commit into this repository. Just git, you need to use this command, and okay, I can uh, yeah, git, sorry, git clone this. Okay, successfully cloned. And now the next step is, and you need to commit your latest changes into this repository, and let's commit this commit directory, and just you can specify Microsoft Azure app deployment, and just commit and push it, commit and push it. Now I'm pushing all the changes, the details successfully pushing. Yeah, details successfully pushed now. And let's go and see whether our latest changes were all present or not. Just we'll check. Okay, and the changes, Java point API appointment and presentation persistence. Let's say entity we see. Yeah, all the latest changes, it was present in this repository. The next step is, you need to deploy this application in Azure. And fifth step, we are going to deploy our application using Azure Shell. And we also can say it is a Azure Cloud Shell. And where first we need to clone our application into Azure Shell space. And from there, we need to deploy our application into Azure app. Let's see how we are going to do it with simple steps. And just first, I already copied some steps. First step, we need to clone the repository, and it will ask you the credentials, and you need to provide your credentials, and curly dot Madhavareddy, and the password you can choose from here. Sorry. Okay, I just copied the password, and I will paste it in Azure shell. I pasted and I am pressing enter. Now the repository is cloned. Let's see. Now the repository is available, and the next step is you need to go to the repository, and second step, you need to update the dependency plugin, Azure Web App Maven plugin. We can Azure Web App Maven plugin. Just I'm running Maven command to update the plugin into this existing repository. I'm just updating. And once it is ready, it will ask you, it will pop up you. Okay, and just it is asking, okay, which application you want to create it, and appointment I'm just using this one, and create, and I'm just using simple enter, and it is asking you whether you are going to deploy it in a Linux container or Windows container or Docker container, and I am choosing it as a Linux one, and I'm going to use a free tier for this moment, and that is for option 5. Yes, F1, and the version Java is already we chosen it as a Java 8. That yeah, just enter, and build is successful now. And if you see the here the properties, and the region is automatically picked up, and the resource group, we resource app name, you can give any name. Initially it automatically chosen it as this app name, and appointment some unique number, and the resource group, and it's generated on top of this app name, and the region it chosen as an okay, we didn't specify any region, and it automatically chosen, and the pricing tier, it's we need to careful on while choosing this pricing tier, and I'm choosing as a free tier to deploy our application, and that okay, uh, before bringing up your application, you just verify this one. And second one, OS, I already chosen it as a Linux and Java 8 version, and the website how we are going to deploy this, how which way we are going to deploy is Java SE, and okay, this means Azure app we are going to deploy in this Spring Boot application as Azure app, and the deployment sort is false, and the confirmation which we are going to give yes. That's all. Now the build is successful. Now the next step is deploy the application into the Azure app. How we are going to deploy, and just previous step we just use the Maven plugin update, and let's verify the Maven plugin updated or not. Okay, you can edit the properties as well manually also. Just vi pom.xml, and you can choose. I will change it to I will change it to Windows instead of Linux. Let's see, and you can also change the pricing tier or whatever the values over here, and Java version also if you want you can change, web container Java SE also you can change, yeah, you can change these plugin values, and the plugin seems to be correct. No, I just am saving it. Now let's see. The next step is we have to use the deploy command, mvn command. Just paste mvn package azure-webapp-deploy. This will deploy the application into your Azure apps. Let's see. I think almost it is done. Application is deploying in now. Okay, the next step is we will test this application. Once it is up and running, yeah, successfully deployed the application, and we received a confirmation build success also. This is important, and you can see where do we can see the endpoint, and here you can see the endpoint in the command shell itself. Just see when you click on here, and first time it will take a bit time. The application we are getting white label error. We are not handling this kind of errors as of now. Okay, let's test this application in Postman. First what we do is appointment, will keep it the same, and we try to retrieve the values from the database, and what the database values were there, just we'll see. There is no values at this moment, and okay, same configuration which we tested MySQL cloud details, and just see what happened here before going to run. Just browse it, and there is no entries as of now. Let's go and create an entry. Now I will create an entry just by replacing this one. Yeah, this is the endpoint and appointment, and we are posting the entry, and I will create a first Azure app appointment 1, and I will give it as a today date 6th, and just send. I created one entry, and let's see the entry is presented in the DB or not. Cloud DB. Just browse it. One entry is present as of now. Yeah, we will create one more entry in post through the Postman, and the second Azure app container. Just second entry, right? Yeah, just see second entry. I'm hitting the service. Now I got the response from the back, and this entry has been created successfully. Now we directly go to the Azure cloud. Azure cloud. Yeah, endpoint, and here appointment is a get method. The appointment get method. When you hit this service, what is going to happen? Yeah, the two entries it is presented as of now. Correct, right? Yeah, and that's all for this demo. And if you like my video, please do subscribe. Thank you.